morning, everybody. Welcome to Accounting 1, and we are going to be talking about Chapter 2 today. So remember when we go to Mind Tab, which is the NGL Sync button on your Launchpad, we're going to click the Expand All button or the caret. Then we're going to come to Chapter 2 and open it. And then, of course, we're going to go to 2-1. This allows me to do the reading activity and the OWP end of lesson review. Click here. This is basically exactly from the book, and we're going to be learning how to analyze transactions into debit and credit parts, including how to use T accounts, analyzing the accounting equation, accounts, increases, decreases, and balances in accounts, and an end of lesson review. Okay, show the relationship between the accounting equation and a T account. Identify the debit and credit side, the increase side, the balance side of various accounts. Restate and apply the two rules that are associated with the increase side of an account. Okay, so this is a T account. A T account is basically in the shape of the T with a left side and a right side. Notice that the left side is the assets and the right side is the liabilities and owner's equity. This is important because we're going to look at this a little bit later. So remember, everything that is owned is an asset. Everything that is owed is the liabilities, and the owner's equity is the amount of equity or how much the owner has in the business. The total amounts of the left side of the accounting equation always equal the right side, so we always have to equal, just like in algebra. Okay, so once again, here is the accounting equation, and this is what a T account is going to look like. The left side is always the debit side. The right side is always the credit side. So throw out everything you would know about debit cards, credit cards, and all of that thing, because that is not what we're talking about. So on your T account, right here is where your where it says T account. This is where your account name would go, like cash, accounts receivable, etc. Here is the left side is the debit and the right side is the credit. An interesting side note is you can abbreviate these to DR or CR. I know DR doesn't really make sense because of the debit, but that's how it goes. Okay, so certain accounts increase in different ways. So I would make this into notes because it makes it easier for you to remember and have on hand. I even have them written down, so if I ever have to refer back, I can, but it's really good to memorize. So on the right side, which is also the right side of the T account, we have any asset. Remember, our assets that we have right now are cash, supplies, accounts receivable, prepaid, insurance. So the debit side is the increase side. The credit side is the decrease side. So if I'm increasing an asset, like I would put a plus in the last chapter, it means I'm debiting it. If I'm decreasing the asset, I am crediting it. And then the normal balance side is always the increase side of an account. So for any asset, this is what we're looking at. Debit to increase, credit to decrease, and our normal balance is a debit. And it is always debit on the left, credit on the right. Okay, any liability account. And the liability accounts we have right now are accounts payable. We increase on the credit side and we decrease on the debit side. And of course, then that means our normal balance is a credit. And then our owner's capital account, which is going to be like John Smith Capital, we increase on the credit side, we decrease on the debit side, and our credit side is our normal balance side. Oops. Okay, so basically our accounts to review is a T account, which is the T figure that allows us to analyze accounting transactions. A debit is always the left side of the accounting equation. A credit is the right side of the accounting equation. And the normal balance is always the increase side. Okay, so we'll get out of there. And we're going to go do our OWP problems, which is the work together and the on your own problem. So we just click here for work together. And the very first thing that you should do is you should go mark every single one debit and credit, because that is what makes this easier to understand. The debit is always on the left side. The credit is always on the right side. And if you can't remember that, just remember debit, credit, debit, credit, debit, credit, debit, credit. Say that to yourself a bunch of different times so that you remember it. Okay, now I'm going to analyze each of these so I know which way they go. So cash. Cash is an asset account, which is on the debit side of the accounting equation, meaning my debits increase a cash account and my credits decrease a cash account. And my normal balance would be the increase side, which is the debit side. Accounts receivable is also an asset. So I increase with the debit, I decrease with the credit, and that means that my debit is my normal balance side. Supply is the same thing. It is also an asset. And prepaid insurance is my last asset. Increase, decrease on the credit, and the normal balance is my debit side. Now, accounts payable are the liabilities that we have. And remember, the liabilities are on the right hand side of the accounting equation. So the credit side is now my increase side. So I increase here, I decrease as a debit, and that means my normal balance is a credit. So on this accounts payable, I increase on my credit, I decrease on my debit, and my normal balance is a credit. And then the same thing with Parker Vogel Capital, that's an owner's equity account, which is on the right side of the equation. So my right side or credit is what increases. Okay, now with the 2-1 on your own problem, go ahead and take a minute and go through that, and then I will show you the answer when you're done. You might want to press pause. Okay, guys, so this is what you should have. Um, Remember, increased debit on any asset, and then your accounts payable and your capital account are both on your right side, so we're increasing with the credits. Click Save and Continue. Now remember, I don't see that you've done anything until you click I'm done, great assignment now. Yes, great assignment. Okay, now we can get out of there. Click on this X. And we're going to go down to do our first application problem for 2-1. And you have to open up the Chapter 2 review, and you're going to do 2-1 application problem. So go ahead and click on this, and this is going to be our first grade of the section. And let me know if you have any questions. Thank you, guys.